Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Brian Artis. This is the Dr. Artis Show, and I'm so excited to be here. I don't know if you noticed, but our pre-sales have launched for the new book of mine titled Moving Beyond the COVID-19 Lies, Restoring Health and Hope for Humanity. Get your copies now. If you didn't see the video yet or the email that came out, I actually asked everybody, when you go to buy a copy, make sure you get a second one that you can give to any healthcare provider you admire, you love or revere, or you continuously see on a regular basis. I need medical doctors, chiropractors, acupuncturists, naturopaths, homeopaths to all have copies of this book so they know how best to help you in the future dealing with anything they call long COVID, vaccine injuries. Chapters 14 and 15 of this book have never been presented before. It's been a monumental task to get this ready, but it is now ready. Go get your pre-sale orders. They won't ship until the middle of September. At the latest ever would be the last week of September that you would receive it if you order it now. The goal is to have these in print ready to go, and I'm hoping to have some there at the Healing for the Ages conference in September. But just in case, make sure you get your orders in so you can get those there. I'm very, very excited, and thank you to the team of publishers, editors that have helped me so much, and the book strategist, my family who've all designated time away from them to make sure this book was done and complete. This is a complete summary of what I've learned over the last 4.5 years since COVID started, numbers of those lies that have been promoted, and then how to make sense of your symptoms that anybody's dealing with. It is an incredible accomplishment to be finished with it nonetheless. Whether or not people see it that way when it comes out, I'm hoping it blesses the lives of millions around the world personally, because COVID affected billions around the world. Let's hope we can help millions. That would be amazing. All right, so get your copies there at thedrartisshow.com. Okay, what we're going to do now is I'm going to do an entire presentation on how to beat arthritis. I'd like to give some credit to my team. I'd like to give credit to my son, Braden, who's in college now and has helped me put together a lot of the slides, actually all the slides for this presentation, and helping to compile the research to lay this out in a narrative that helps me while working on this book have the time to be able to do my weekly podcast as I have committed to the audiences for the last several years. All right, so I'm going to share my screen as normal. If you know anybody, just so y'all know, in America alone, 55 million people have arthritis. If you have arthritis or someone you know has some form of arthritis, there's multiple forms. This show is for you. It is for them. So please share it with them. The very first thing we're going to do is actually set the stage for how many people are affected worldwide and in America of arthritis of any kind. What's the definition of arthritis? What different forms are defined as medical diagnoses? What are the drugs most commonly prescribed for these conditions, and what are their most horrific, terrible side effects that are the most common that all of you need to know about? I'm telling you, this presentation, all of you who have elderly parents or grandparents who have been diagnosed with an arthritis of some sort, rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, it doesn't matter. Whatever they've been given a diagnosis of, they're on these drugs I'm about to go through. Every single one of those drugs have horrific side effects that would look like symptoms or signs of aging, but they're not. They're actually published side effects of these drugs, supposedly to mitigate your loved one's suffering. Most of the aging processes your loved ones are going through, the dementia, the gait issues, the bleeding, the bruising, all of these are actually attributed directly to the drugs they're on for arthritis. Do you know which ones those are? Because if you are concerned about your loved one's memory, their ability to speak, their gait, their appetite, their bruising, their skin, you name it, you got to look at these drugs. You have to know what they do so you can ask your doctor to get you off of those and help your loved one get off of them also. The less amount of drugs, the less sick you're going to be, the less symptoms you're going to have. All right, so we're going to dive into this. We hope you enjoy the show, but here we go. Let's bring up the screen sharing. Oh, and just so you know, I'm going to go ahead and say it. The sponsors for this show are these individual supplements: N-acetylcysteine, vitamin D3, selenium, and taurine. You're going to learn why here. I'm going to show you some research studies at the end of this presentation, which prove that these 4 nutrients are actually anti-arthritic, and why it is you should supplement it or get it to the loved ones who are struggling or suffering. All right, you should be able to see the screen now. You should be able to see the title, How to Beat Arthritis. I'm going to dive right in. Here we go. You can scan here this QR code. It will allow you to put in your email address. It will then, you will be put into a bank of data where we can email you each week our updated presentations, our book information, where I'm going to be speaking, anything related to what I'm doing. If you want that information or want this PowerPoint presentation, you can get it underneath patient resources at thedrartisshow.com. You can also get there by quickly QR scanning that code. All right, so let's first define from the NIH what it means to have arthritis. So arthritis has a very specific definition. It's on the screen as I go one slide after the other to build this narrative for you, to help you understand what arthritis is, what the various types are, and the severity of problems their drugs they prescribe create for you and your loved ones. Every time I put up a slide, pay attention to the red underlined statements as usual. For those who are normal audience members, for newbies, I highlight everything I want you to look at. So you're going to follow along with the red highlighted sentences. Arthritis literally means joint inflammation. Joints are places where two bones meet, such as your elbow or your knee. There are many different types of arthritis with different causes and treatments. And some types, other organs, such as your eyes, heart, or skin, can also be affected. Here are various types of arthritis from the NIH website and from the same paper I was just showing at the beginning. On the previous slide, here are the various forms of arthritis that either you or your loved one are struggling with. Ankylosing spondylitis is a type of arthritis that causes inflammation in the joints and ligaments of the spine. Gout is a type of arthritis that occurs as flares, typically in your big toe or lower limb. My audience members will know I used to have gout. I had it for 10 years, and I figured out how to reverse it, took no drugs. It wasn't really a disease as much as it was something I was eating too much of. Once I took that out of my diet, it went away within the same week. It's never returned 20-something years ago. All right, juvenile idiopathic arthritis. Juvenile means in children. Idiopathic is a medical term that they like to use a lot. Idiopathic means we don't know what causes it. So they call it juvenile, children. We don't know what causes it, arthritis. That is exactly what that title means. It says here, it is the most common type of chronic arthritis that affects children. So maybe you have a nephew or niece, child, grandchild that deals with this. You got to get them this presentation. Osteoarthritis is the most common type of arthritis and is more common in older people. Osteoarthritis is different than rheumatoid arthritis. You'll see at the bottom of the screen. Osteoarthritis, it gets better as you use your joints throughout the day. You wake up and your pain's the worst as you're moving. They get better. That's osteoarthritis. The opposite is if you wake up with slight amounts of pain, but it gets worse as you use your hands or your other joints. That is typically rheumatoid arthritis. It's really the only difference. Psoriatic arthritis is the next on the list. This is psoriatic plaque, psoriasis. The plaquing on your skin leads to arthritis. Can occur in people who have psoriasis, scaly red and white skin patches. It affects the skin, joints, and areas where tissues attach to the bone. Reactive arthritis. This is a type of arthritis that comes and goes. It's caused by an infection in your body. When you've ever had the flu, all your joints will hurt for a few days. This is an example of reactive arthritis. Symptoms often clear up on their own within a few weeks or months after the infection's gone. Rheumatoid arthritis, they mention here, is an autoimmune form of arthritis where the immune system attacks the healthy joint tissues. Here are some crazy statistics on arthritis. So if you don't think you know somebody with arthritis, you do. You just haven't talked to them or gotten to know them. Emerging issues in arthritis. This is from health.gov. Arthritis is currently reported by 54.4 million United States adults. That's a lot, seeing how there's only like 200 million adults. That means a quarter of them, 1 out of every 4, has arthritis of some sort. Now let's read even further. The prevalence of arthritis is projected to increase to 78.4 million adults in 2040. Yes, in the United States. Now they're creeping up on 50% of all arthritis patients, or all U.S. adults, will be arthritic by 2040. How common is arthritis? Here on singlecare.com's website, they post more than 350 million people have arthritis globally. In the United States, 1 in 4 adults has arthritis, per the CDC. It's estimated that by 2040, 78 million, they mentioned again, U.S. adults will have arthritis, per this article, 2016, from a journal called Arthritis in Rheumatology. They continue in this article, I highlight in red, osteoarthritis is the most common joint disorder in the United States. Rheumatoid arthritis, when you go to the bottom, affects more than 1.96 million adults in the United States. If you look above, I didn't highlight this yet, but read this. Gout, the second bullet point. Nearly 9 million Americans have gout. Juvenile arthritis. About 1 child in every 1,000 develops some type of chronic arthritis. Arthritic statistics by age. 60% of people who have arthritis are between the ages of 18 and 64. Does that shock any of you? It should. It shocked me when I read it. 60% of people who have arthritis are between the ages of 18 and 64. That's the working age group of Americans. I would have always thought, and I bet you did too, people who are retired in their 70s and 80s have the highest amount of arthritis. Nope, it's most often diagnosed in the young and middle-aged. Arthritic statistics by race and ethnicity. 41.3 million white people have been diagnosed with arthritis. 6.1 million Black people have been diagnosed with arthritis. That's a lot. That's 47 million of them are white and Black. Arthritis and overall health. As many as 88% of people say arthritis affects their quality of life. 24 million US adults are limited physically by their arthritis. Arthritis is the leading cause of disability in the United States of America. More than 560,000 hospitalizations in the United States involve rheumatoid arthritis annually. People with osteoarthritis, the type of arthritis that gets better as you use your joints during the day, have a 24% higher risk of getting heart disease than those without it. Well, we can explain that one. The same thing that causes arthritis causes heart disease, excess calcium. So stop supplementing calcium if you have arthritis or are worried about heart disease. Unless you want heart disease and arthritis, keep supplementing calcium. The cost of arthritis. Listen to these costs of how many Americans have arthritis. Work, disability, medical care, and lost earnings related to arthritis alone cost the United States public health system more than $303 billion every year. Osteoarthritis accounts for more than $16 billion. Now we're going to get into the drugs that they commonly prescribe for you or your loved one if you have arthritis. These are called DMARDs for short, DMARDs. And that's abbreviated, as you can see on the screen, as disease-modifying anti-rheumatic drugs are used to decrease inflammation, shortly abbreviated into an acronym called DMARDs. And they write that the most common DMARD drugs used to treat arthritis, including rheumatoid arthritis, include this. Plaquenil is the first one. Plaquenil has another name. The generic name is hydroxychloroquine. Yes, the same drug you heard about during COVID, hydroxychloroquine, an anti-parasite drug, one that also worked for COVID, is also known as Plaquenil for rheumatoid arthritis patients. The next three on the screen are Arava, leflunomide is its generic name. The next most common one most people in America know is called methotrexate. Its brand name is Trexall, and then a brand name of drug called sulfasalazine, otherwise known as brand name-wise azulfadine. We're going to keep going. We're going to dive first into Plaquenil, which is hydroxychloroquine. This is from written by someone named Alex, March 2024 for Medical News Today. She writes, Plaquenil side effects, what you should know. Well, here you go. Anybody that you know that's on Plaquenil right now, which is one of the drugs my 11-year-old sister was put on when she was 11 for lupus. Plaquenil, this is actually published side effects on Medical News Today. Serious side effects that have been reported and their symptoms include ear or hearing problems for anybody on Plaquenil or hydroxychloroquine. Please, for the love of God, anybody who's still worried about COVID-19 and might be on hydroxychloroquine, you have to know these are their published side effects. Stop taking it. You can have ear or hearing problems, which include deafness, tinnitus, ringing in your ears, balance problems, dizziness, trouble hearing, or loss of your hearing. Are you more worried about going deaf or getting a cough they call COVID? Another side effect of Plaquenil, known as hydroxychloroquine, is blood disorders, including low levels of white blood cells, low levels of red blood cells, or low levels of platelets. So everyone was told these were side effects of COVID. Did you know that Plaquenil and hydroxychloroquine causes this exact symptom, these blood disorders? And just so you know, read the small bullet points underneath the highlighted statement. The blood disorders include these symptoms: bleeding from your gums or nose, feeling tired, headaches, and infections.